My friends, welcome back to Science to Sleep By. Tonight, we'll take a quiet journey together across the stars. Here in the United States, many of us fall asleep under city lights, forgetting that just above the haze is the grand arch of the Milky Way, stretching from horizon to horizon. So tonight, let's drift beyond the noise of the day, beyond Earth itself, and into the galaxy we call home. Imagine yourself lying down in a quiet room, the lights dimmed, the noise of the day finally fading away. The world outside your window carries on with its usual rhythm. But here, in this stillness, you are invited to step away from the ordinary. Tonight, we are not bound by the limits of streets, cities, or even Earth itself. Tonight, we drift beyond the familiar, past the blue skies we know so well, and into the endless ocean of stars. Close your eyes, slow your breath, and allow yourself to drift with me, for we are about to begin a journey through the Milky Way, the very galaxy that cradles our home. The gentle beginning of this voyage does not start with engines or noise, but with silence. A silence so profound, it feels like the universe itself is holding its breath. When we think of space, we imagine vast distances and glowing stars, yet before we can see them, we must feel the quiet. Space is not filled with the sound of rushing wind or crashing waves. It is empty, a vacuum where sound cannot travel. That silence is the first thing that greets us when we leave the comfort of Earth. For many, that silence might feel lonely. But for tonight, in this soft journey, it is not loneliness we feel, but peace. Imagine floating, weightless, as though your body is no longer pressed down by the pull of gravity. You drift slowly upward, the atmosphere of Earth becoming thinner and thinner, until the stars begin to shine more clearly against a velvety black canvas. Above you, the night sky opens wider than you have ever seen it. Away from the glow of city lights, the Milky Way appears not as a faint smudge, but as a grand river of stars stretching from one horizon to the other. It is pale, almost ghost-like, yet powerful, like a ribbon of soft light drawn across the heavens. This is your first sight of the galaxy that holds you, the place we call the Milky Way. Every twinkle, every shimmer is not just a star, but a sun. Some with planets, perhaps with moons, and maybe with life that dreams beneath other skies. As you breathe slowly, imagine the sensation of floating higher. Earth grows smaller, its blues and greens fading into a delicate marble, suspended in the dark. Our home, with all its noise, worries, and constant motion, shrinks until it is simply one glowing point behind you. Ahead, the galaxy unfolds, welcoming you like a vast open sea. There is no rush in this drifting. Time slows. Each second feels stretched, as though the stars themselves are giving you permission to linger, to pause, and to let your thoughts drift as slowly as your body. Think of how sailors once looked to the stars for guidance. They charted their course by constellations, trusting the lights above to lead them through uncharted waters. Tonight, you are a traveler of a different kind, not bound to oceans of Earth, but to the galactic sea. Instead of sails, you carry imagination. Instead of maps, you follow the glow of countless suns. And instead of rushing forward, you drift, letting the current of wonder carry you deeper into the night. The gentle beginning of our journey is not about distance, but about perspective. For so often, we forget that we are part of something much greater than ourselves. We wake, we work, we speak, we eat, and then we sleep, rarely pausing to think about the fact that our lives unfold on a small planet orbiting a single star, which itself is just one of hundreds of billions in this galaxy alone. To drift into the Milky Way is to step outside that daily routine, to remember that you are not just a person in a city, on a continent, on Earth. You are also a being of the cosmos, woven from the same elements that fuel stars and sparkle in galaxies. The very iron in your blood, the calcium in your bones, the oxygen in your lungs, all were born in the heart of ancient stars that lived, burned, and died long before Earth existed. Tonight, as you drift, you return to that truth, that you are not separate from the galaxy, but part of its endless story. The air around you grows cooler in your imagination, not from the chill of night, but from the absence of the sun's warmth. As you float, you sense the immensity of the void. And yet, despite the vast distances between stars, you do not feel lost. The Milky Way is not a cold, unwelcoming place. It is alive with light. Its arms, like spiraling rivers of fireflies, curve gracefully outward, each one carrying billions of suns in its embrace. You are not outside looking in, but within it, cradled by its gravity, held gently in its flowing spiral. The gentle beginning of this journey is also a beginning for your thoughts. Perhaps today has been busy, filled with tasks and voices, and screens that pulled your attention in many directions. But here, as you imagine yourself floating, there is no demand, no urgency. The galaxy does not ask you to be faster, stronger, or louder. It only asks you to notice, to look, to breathe, to allow your mind to expand as widely as the stars themselves. And in this quiet, your thoughts soften, your body relaxes, and your heartbeat begins to slow. In rhythm with the calm of the universe, you pass the thin blue line of Earth's atmosphere, the layer that once separated you from the stars. Now, nothing separates you. Space stretches infinitely, and yet it does not feel overwhelming. Instead, it feels like an invitation. The stars are not faraway fires to be feared. They are companions, glowing softly, whispering silently, telling you that you belong here too. To drift into the Milky Way is to return home in a way, because the galaxy is your birthplace. Every atom within you carries the history of stardust. Every breath you take is part of the galaxy breathing with you. And so this gentle beginning continues. Not in haste, not with urgency, but with calm, steady drifting. You are not racing through the cosmos, but floating into it, as though carried by a slow current. With every moment, the Milky Way grows clearer, brighter, more alive. The river of stars becomes more than a sight, it becomes a feeling. One that fills you with both awe and peace. You are not simply looking at the galaxy. You are part of it, moving with it, resting within it, and tonight, you are free to drift endlessly through its embrace as you continue drifting, held softly by the weightlessness of this imagined journey. Your thoughts turn to the place we call home. Not just Earth, not just the solar system, but our true address in the wider universe. For every home has a neighborhood, every neighborhood a city, and every city a larger land that surrounds it. The same is true of our existence in the cosmos. Earth is our home. The solar system is our neighborhood, but all of it together belongs to something even greater: the Milky Way, the galaxy we live in, the spiral island of stars that stretches far beyond the reach of our eyes. It can be hard to picture what the Milky Way really looks like, because we are inside it. Like standing in the middle of a forest, you cannot see the shape of the woods all at once. You only see the trees closest to you, rising in every direction. But if you could rise above the forest, if you could float far enough away, you would see the pattern they create, the design that stretches across the land. The Milky Way is like that. From Earth, we see it as a pale, luminous band arcing across the sky, a stream of light that glows on dark nights when city lights do not drown it out. But from above, from a distance far beyond imagination, it would appear as a grand spiral, a pinwheel of hundreds of billions of stars swirling together in a cosmic dance. And where are we within that vast spiral? Our solar system does not sit in the crowded center, nor on the very outer edge. Instead, we live in a quieter region, tucked away in what astronomers call the Orion Arm, or more precisely, the Orion Spur. This spur is like a smaller pathway, branching off from the galaxy's larger arms, a kind of galactic side street. It is here, in this relatively calm region of the galaxy, that the Sun was born around 4.6 billion years ago, and it is here that Earth has quietly circled ever since. To imagine our location, think of the galaxy as a great wheel. At its heart, a glowing center churns with stars and dust, a region of extraordinary brightness and energy. From that hub, four great spiral arms unfurl, sweeping outward in graceful curves, glowing with clusters of young stars. Our Sun is not in that crowded hub, nor nestled within those brightest arms. Instead, we are located about halfway between the center and the outer rim, in a less populated zone. This distance is vast beyond comprehension. The solar system lies roughly 26,000 light-years from the center of the galaxy, meaning that if a beam of light left the galactic core and traveled straight toward us, moving at 186,000 miles per second, it would still take 26,000 years to arrive. That is our position, delicately balanced between the galaxy's bustling center and its quiet outer edge. Why here? Why this place? Astronomers believe it may be more than coincidence. Our location in the Orion Arm offers a kind of galactic stability, a calmness that has allowed life to flourish. The crowded regions near the center teem with energy. Stars packed so closely that their gravity pulls and tugs on one another. Supernova, the explosive deaths of massive stars, happen more often there, releasing radiation and chaos that could be destructive to fragile worlds. The outer edges, on the other hand, hold fewer heavy elements, the very ingredients needed to form planets and life as we know it. But here in this middle ground, in this quiet arm of the Milky Way, conditions are balanced. There is enough heavy matter to form rich, rocky planets, and enough peace to allow them to orbit undisturbed. Our place in the galaxy is not random. It is, in many ways, a cosmic sweet spot. If you could rise above our solar system and look outward, you would see the Orion Arm stretching like a glittering bridge across space. Nearby are other arms, the Sagittarius Arm, the Perseus Arm, each one a glowing river of stars, gas, and dust. The arms are not solid things, not like physical bridges or walls. They are more like patterns of traffic in the galaxy, regions where matter gathers more densely, where stars are born in glowing nurseries of gas. Between these arms are gaps, less populated regions, the quiet lanes between the bustling galactic highways. Our Orion spur lies between two of the larger arms, giving us a view of both without being swallowed by their brightness. Think of it as living in a small town between two grand cities. We are close enough to see their glow on the horizon, but far enough away to enjoy the peace of open skies. From Earth, when we look up at the night sky, the Milky Way's band is our view along the plane of the galaxy, the cross-section of those arms stretching away from us. Every star you see with your naked eye belongs to the Milky Way, yet what you see is only a fraction, a sprinkling compared to the billions that surround us. Our solar system itself is like a tiny boat sailing in this galactic sea. It orbits around the center, carried by the gravity of the stars, dust, and dark matter that bind the galaxy together. One complete journey takes about 225 million years. That means in all of human history, the world has not even completed a single orbit. The last time Earth was in this position, dinosaurs roamed the land, and continents were in different places than they are today. The galaxy moves slowly, patiently, with a rhythm that makes human lifetimes seem like brief flickers. Yet even in this vast motion, we remain tied to our place, drawn along in the spiral's embrace. Sometimes, when you step outside at night and look at the sky, it can feel overwhelming to realize how small we are compared to this immense galaxy. But rather than overwhelming, it feels comforting. Our place in the galaxy is not one of insignificance, but of connection. We are woven into the structure, a single spark among billions, yet no less part of the whole. To know where we are is to know that we belong, not by accident, but by design of cosmic history. Our address may not be one we can write on an envelope, but it is one that links us to everything. If you were to write it, it would begin with your street, then your city, then your state, then your country, then Earth, the solar system, the Orion Arm, the Milky Way galaxy. Each layer is larger, each one more immense, and yet all together, they form the simple truth. This is our place in the cosmos, and as you drift tonight, imagining the slow spin of the stars around the galactic core, remember that you are part of this place. Your home is not just the walls around you or the ground beneath you. Your home is the Orion Arm of the Milky Way, a spiral of stars glowing in the dark, cradling us quietly as we journey together through the endless night. As you drift deeper into the galaxy, the question rises gently in the mind: what does our home truly look like? We live within it, surrounded by its stars. Yet it is not easy to see the whole. To us, the Milky Way appears as a glowing river of light across the night sky, stretching from horizon to horizon, a delicate veil. But this view, as breathtaking as it is only a narrow glimpse from the inside. To truly imagine the shape of the Milky Way, you must step back in your thoughts, lifting yourself far beyond the reach of our sun, beyond the arms of the Orion Spur, until you can look down upon the galaxy itself, as though from above, as though hovering in the stillness of intergalactic space. What you would see is a spiral, vast and radiant, not a flat, featureless disk, but a graceful pinwheel, its arms unfurling like ribbons in slow motion. The Milky Way is what astronomers call a barred spiral galaxy, meaning it has a central bar-shaped structure at its core, with spiral arms extending outward in arcs. This bar is a dense stretch of stars and gas, cutting across the galactic center like a glowing bridge. From this bar, the spiral arms emerge, curving outward in long, sweeping arcs, each one glowing with clusters of young stars, nebulae, and cosmic dust. It is a design of elegance, a cosmic mandala painted across the void. The scale of this structure is staggering. The Milky Way spans about 100,000 light-years from one edge to the other, though some estimates extend it even farther, suggesting it may stretch closer to 120,000 or even 150,000 light-years in diameter. A single light-year, the distance light travels in a year, is nearly 6 trillion miles. To cross the galaxy from side to side at the speed of light would take longer than all of recorded human history many times over. Yet from the outside, it is not the immensity that first captures the imagination, but the shape itself. The spiral arms winding gracefully, the bar glowing at the center, the halo of stars and dark matter enveloping it like a luminous cocoon. The spiral arms are not solid structures, not rigid pathways etched into the fabric of the galaxy. They are patterns, regions of higher density where stars are born, like waves on the surface of an ocean. Just as waves travel across water without carrying the water itself, so the spiral arms move through the galaxy, creating regions where matter gathers, compresses, and ignites into new suns. In these arms, clouds of gas collapse under their own gravity, sparking the birth of brilliant stars that shine blue and hot. These young stars illuminate the arms, making them appear brighter than the spaces between. Our own Orion arm is one of these glowing lanes, a smaller spur between the larger arms of Sagittarius and Perseus. At the very center of the Milky Way lies the galactic core, a dense, crowded region where stars swirl together in unimaginable numbers. Within that core rests something even more extraordinary, a supermassive black hole, known as Sagittarius A. It is a point of immense gravity, weighing millions of times more than our sun, pulling stars into rapid orbits around it. We cannot see it directly, for it swallows light itself, but we can trace its presence through the motion of stars that whirl around it like moths caught in an invisible current. The bar that stretches across this core funnels gas and dust inward, feeding both the black hole and the birth of new stars. This heart of the Milky Way is not silent, though to our ears it would seem so. It is a place of motion, gravity, and energy, the beating center of our spiral galaxy. Surrounding the disk of the Milky Way is a faint, spherical halo, a realm of older stars and globular clusters. These clusters are like ancient cities, each holding hundreds of thousands of stars bound tightly together, orbiting in the outer reaches of the galaxy. They are relics of an earlier time, witnesses to the birth of the Milky Way itself. Even farther beyond lies the mysterious substance we call dark matter, unseen yet measurable by its gravitational pull. This invisible halo surrounds the galaxy like a hidden skeleton, providing the structure that holds it together. Without it, the galaxy's arms would spin apart. With it, the Milky Way retains its shape, balanced between gravity and motion. A delicate system sustained across billions of years. To imagine the galaxy's shape is to imagine a harmony of motion. The arms spin slowly, completing a turn only once every few 100 million years. Stars within them orbit at different speeds, yet the overall pattern endures. It is like a grand cosmic clock, each star a gear, each arm a hand sweeping slowly across the face of time. Our sun, one small light among billions, moves steadily along this spiral path, carried on a journey that will take it around the galaxy many times before its life is done. From the perspective of the night sky, the shape is less obvious, but its hints are there. The band of the Milky Way you see overhead is the edge-on view of this spiral disk, the dense concentration of stars that forms its plane. On dark nights and places far from human lights, this band glows so strongly that it casts shadows, a reminder of the galaxy's vastness and your place within it. To lie beneath that glow is to feel both small and infinite at once, to recognize that your body is but a moment in time, and yet also a continuation of the galaxy's story. The Milky Way's shape is not frozen. Over billions of years, galaxies collide, merge, and reshape themselves. Already, the Milky Way is tugged by the pull of its neighbor, the Andromeda Galaxy, which approaches slowly across the intergalactic void. In billions of years, the two will merge, their arms twisting together, their shapes reshaping into something new. But tonight, the Milky Way is as it has been for human lifetimes, a spiral unfolding gently in the dark, a pattern of order amidst the chaos of the universe. To drift and imagine its shape is to see more than just stars. It is to see a living system, where creation and destruction balance one another, where stars are born, live their luminous lives, and eventually return their elements to the galaxy, fueling new generations. It is a shape not just of matter, but of time, memory, and renewal. The spiral arms, the glowing bar, the halo of stars, the hidden dark matter together, they form the Milky Way's body. And within that body lies us, a small spark drifting through one of its quieter lanes. The shape is both immense and delicate, a cosmic fingerprint, unique and yet echoing the spiral patterns seen throughout the universe. To contemplate it is to let your mind drift outward, beyond the scale of daily life, to see yourself as part of something vast and graceful, something that turns slowly, patiently, endlessly in the quiet of the cosmos. When you lie beneath the night sky and allow your gaze to wander upward, it can feel as though the heavens are quiet, as though only a handful of stars sparkle faintly above. To the naked eye, on a clear night far from the glow of city lights, you might see perhaps a few thousand stars. Each one twinkles with its own brightness, each one steady and constant against the dark canvas of space. But the truth is far more overwhelming than what the eye alone can take in. The Milky Way is not a sky dotted with thousands of stars. It is a galaxy alive with hundreds of billions of them, scattered across unimaginable distances, each one a sun in its own right, each one holding secrets we may never fully know. Imagine, for a moment, that every star you see is only the smallest sampling, the visible layer of a vast cosmic ocean. The human eye cannot see all the stars that lie within our galaxy, just as someone standing on a shoreline cannot see every fish in the sea. What we glimpse above is only the faintest glimmer of the true richness around us. Astronomers estimate that the Milky Way contains somewhere between 100 billion and 400 billion stars, and perhaps even more, as many stars remain hidden behind clouds of dust and gas. That range is so large it defies easy comprehension, yet even the lower number, 100 billion, is a figure that stretches the limits of imagination. To understand what it means, consider this: if you were to count one star per second, it would take you over 3,000 years to reach 100 billion. And that is still less than half of what may actually exist. If each of those stars were a person, the population of our galaxy would outnumber Earth's by tens of thousands to one. The Milky Way is not sparse, not empty. It is abundant, overflowing with suns, most invisible to our eyes, but each a steady fire burning in the dark. And yet, though they number in the billions, they come together in one sky. No matter where you are on Earth, the stars above belong to the same galaxy, part of the same vast structure. The view may differ. The constellations that rise above the horizon in the southern hemisphere are not the same as those seen in the northern hemisphere, but the stars themselves are woven into one fabric. It is as the earth is wrapped in a dome, and all humanity gazes outward through different windows of the same great house. Some see Orion, his belt of stars cutting across the sky. Others see the Southern Cross, pointing the way toward the unseen South Pole. Different cultures, different histories, yet all share the same source of light, the same galactic family of stars. Each of those stars is more than just a point of light. Many are far larger and more luminous than our own sun. Some are giants, burning hot and blue, shining with a brilliance so intense that even from hundreds or thousands of light years away, their glow reaches Earth. Others are small and faint, red dwarfs so dim they remain invisible without telescopes, yet they outnumber all other types of stars, and each one carries a story. Some are newborn, ignited only recently from the collapse of interstellar clouds. Others are ancient, older than Earth itself, still burning steadily after billions of years. And some have already died, their light still traveling across space long after the star itself has vanished, so that when we look at them, we see the memory of what once was. The billions of stars are not scattered randomly. They cluster in regions, gather in arms, stretch across the spiral lanes of the Milky Way. Some live in open clusters, groups of young stars that share a common birthplace, like siblings born from the same cloud of gas. Others live in globular clusters, tight spheres of hundreds of thousands of stars orbiting together in the galactic halo. And still others wander more independently, solitary suns moving through the galaxy's disk, carrying their planets, comets, and asteroids quietly along their paths. If each star could be seen clearly from Earth, the night sky would be so filled with light it would rival the brightness of day. But space is not empty between them. Dust and gas absorb and scatter their glow, leaving only a fraction visible to our eyes. Telescopes, especially those that see in wavelengths beyond visible light, reveal what we cannot: the crowded richness of stars that lie hidden, the teeming fields of suns that make our galaxy shimmer like a jeweled ocean. The Hubble Space Telescope, and now the James Webb Space Telescope, have shown us views where every dot of light in an image is not a single star, but a galaxy of stars. And when they turn inward toward our own Milky Way, the images explode with thousands of pinpoints, each a sun, each a fire burning across the void. And though we see billions, there is a comfort in the unity of that vision. Billions of stars, yet one sky. It is a reminder that the galaxy does not belong to one place, one people, or one time. It belongs to all who look up, to every child who has ever wondered about the night, to every traveler who has ever charted their way by the constellations, to every poet, every dreamer, every scientist who has tried to capture in words or numbers the immensity above. The sky does not divide, it unites. The same stars that guided ancient sailors across oceans still shine above us tonight, steady and patient, waiting for us to look up and remember our place among them. What makes this truth even more profound is the possibility that many of these stars may hold planets. Over the past few decades, astronomers have discovered thousands of exoplanet worlds that orbit stars beyond our sun, and the more we look, the more we find. It is likely that the majority of stars in the Milky Way host planets, some small and rocky like Earth, others vast and gaseous like Jupiter. If there are hundreds of billions of stars, and most of them have planets, then the galaxy is not just a sea of suns, but a sea of worlds. Billions of stars, billions of skies, each one with its own perspective, each one carrying its own mysteries. From our small corner in the Orion arm, we see only a fraction, yet it is enough to inspire wonder. When you tilt your head back and watch the stars on a clear night, you are looking into the past as well as across space. Some of the stars you see may have been shining their light toward Earth before human civilization began. Others may no longer exist, their light still traveling, still reaching you as a final farewell. The sky is both a map of space and a map of time, written not in ink, but in photons, billions of them, each one a message from a star, and as you drift now in this quiet moment, imagine yourself surrounded by them, not seeing just a handful as you do from Earth, but floating among them, the way sailors once dreamed of being surrounded by lanterns on a midnight sea. Stars above, stars below, stars in every direction. Billions of fires scattered through the void, each one glowing steadily, each one part of the same galaxy, all of them forming the one sky that unites us. And though they are countless, though they are far beyond our ability to ever touch or count them all, together they create a single vision, a single home, a single Milky Way in which we all drift. As you continue drifting softly through the Milky Way, it is natural to wonder not just about the galaxy as a whole, but about the smaller surroundings that make up our immediate neighborhood. Just as a person's home belongs to a street, and that street belongs to a town, so too does our solar system belong to a local cluster of stars, clouds, and structures that form the familiar environment of our galactic journey. This cosmic neighborhood is vast beyond comprehension, and yet, compared to the entire Milky Way, it is only a small patch, a quiet corner filled with glowing companions and ancient mysteries waiting silently in the dark. Our sun, with its family of planets, moons, asteroids, and comets, is not alone. It is one star among many in what astronomers call the local bubble, a region of space about 1,000 light-years across. This bubble is not solid or perfectly shaped, but rather a cavity carved out of interstellar gas by ancient supernova explosions. Long ago, perhaps 10 or 20 million years in the past, massive stars near this region lived their short, brilliant lives, and when they reached their end, they exploded with incredible force. Those explosions swept away gas and dust, leaving behind a cavity, a kind of hollow in the interstellar medium. The sun now drifts within this cavity, carrying Earth and the rest of its planets along on a quiet voyage. This local bubble is like the neighborhood park of the galaxy, an open space carved into the denser forest of gas and stars. Within this neighborhood, we find many stellar companions. The closest of all is the Alpha Centauri system, just over 4 light-years away. It is not a single star but 3, a trinity bound by gravity. 2 of them, Alpha Centauri A and Alpha Centauri B, dance around each other like twin lanterns, one slightly larger and brighter than our sun, the other a bit smaller and dimmer. The third, Proxima Centauri, is a faint red dwarf orbiting farther out, and though it is too dim to see with the naked eye, it holds special significance, for around it circles a small planet roughly the size of Earth. This world, called Proxima b, lies in the star's habitable zone, where temperatures could allow liquid water to exist. It may be nothing but barren rock, yet its existence reminds us that other worlds are near, circling stars just next door. In galactic terms, our neighborhood contains more than stars. It is dotted with nebulae, glowing clouds of gas and dust that serve as nurseries for new suns. One of the most famous lies not far away, the Orion Nebula, a vast stellar nursery visible even to the naked eye as a faint blur in Orion's sword. Within its glowing clouds, stars are being born right now, condensing from the dust and gas into fiery new suns. To drift past such a nebula would be to watch creation in motion, to see light breaking through the fog as stars ignite one by one. These stellar nurseries are scattered throughout our region of the galaxy, reminders that the Milky Way is not static but alive, constantly forming, evolving, and renewing itself. Another of our neighbors is the Pleiades, a cluster of stars that gleam like a scattering of diamonds in the night sky. Known across cultures as the Seven Sisters, the Pleiades are young and bright, only about 100 million years old. When you look at them through a telescope, they shimmer with blue light, surrounded by wisps of reflection nebulae, as though dust is still trying to cling to them from their birth. They are a cosmic family, stars born together from the same cloud, traveling together through the galaxy. And they are not alone. Our neighborhood contains many such clusters, groups of stars bound by a shared origin, glowing together as they drift through the spiral arms. If you were to float outward, past the familiar stars of our night sky, you would encounter the Hyades cluster, another neighbor, older and more spread out than the Pleiades. You might see the bright beacon of Sirius, the dog star, the brightest star in Earth's skies, only 8.6 light-years away. Sirius is more luminous than our sun, blazing white against the darkness, and with it comes a faint companion, a white dwarf known as Sirius B, the dense remnant of a star that once shone brightly but has since burned out its fuel. To imagine this system is to imagine both youth and age existing side by side, one star burning fiercely, the other a quiet ember of cosmic time. Our neighborhood is also home to remnants of great violence, the aftershocks of stars that have died. The Crab Nebula, though farther away, is one such remnant, the ghost of a supernova that exploded nearly 1,000 years ago, so bright it was recorded by ancient astronomers on Earth. What remains now is a cloud of expanding gas, illuminated by the pulsar at its center, the collapsed core of the star spinning like a cosmic lighthouse, flashing beams of energy into the void. Though such remnants may sound chaotic, from a distance they are beautiful, glowing shapes that tell the story of stars' lives and deaths, and they too belong to the tapestry of our cosmic neighborhood. Beyond the nearby clusters and nebulae, we find even larger structures, the Magellanic Clouds, two dwarf galaxies orbiting the Milky Way like smaller companions circling a giant. They are visible from the southern hemisphere, appearing as faint patches of light against the night. These galaxies are not strangers but family, tied to our Milky Way by gravity, slowly being drawn into it, their stars and gas destined eventually to merge with our own. They are neighbors not just in space but in fate, sharing in the long-term evolution of our galaxy. Closer to home, the neighborhood is dotted with streams of stars, remnants of galaxies the Milky Way has already consumed. For the Milky Way is not a passive presence. It has grown over billions of years by absorbing smaller galaxies, tearing them apart with its gravity, and scattering their stars into streams that now orbit within its disk and halo. These stellar streams, faint and stretched, are fossils of cosmic history, silent evidence that our neighborhood has been shaped by encounters and mergers long before humanity looked up at the sky. And within this neighborhood, of course, is the sun itself, a star among many yet special to us, because it is the one that warms our skies, lights our days, and cradles our world in its gravity. It is the hearth of our cosmic household, a single fire in a neighborhood filled with others, each carrying its own planets, its own stories, its own possibilities. When we think of our place in the galaxy, it is easy to imagine isolation, to feel that the vast distances between stars make us alone. But the truth is gentler. Our solar system is part of a community, a galactic town where neighbors glow in the distance, each one far but not unreachable in the imagination. The cosmic neighborhood is immense, and yet, like any neighborhood, it carries a sense of belonging. The stars you see each night are not scattered strangers but familiar companions. The nebulae, the clusters, the nearby galaxies, all of them share the same spiral home, all of them drifting together in the Milky Way. And as you imagine yourself floating now through this region, passing glowing stars and drifting clouds of gas, remember that this is your neighborhood too, the place you belong within the galaxy, the place from which you look outward into the endless dark, knowing that you are surrounded not by emptiness, but by countless neighbors glowing softly in the night as you continue drifting in thought. Surrounded by the soft glow of distant stars, it becomes clear that we are not standing still in the galaxy. Nothing in the universe is truly still. The Milky Way itself is alive with motion, and every star, every planet, every cloud of gas is caught in its endless orbit around the galactic center. Our sun, along with Earth and all its companions, is part of this vast migration journey, so immense and so slow that it stretches far beyond the scale of human history. It is the Galactic Drift, a quiet voyage through space, steady and patient, carrying us around the heart of the Milky Way. Imagine the galaxy as a great wheel, its spiral arms sweeping outward in arcs of light, turning ever so slowly across billions of years. At its center lies a dense hub of stars, gas, and a supermassive black hole, Sagittarius A, whose gravity holds the entire structure together. Around this hub, every star orbits in its own path, bound not by choice, but by the invisible pull of gravity. Our Sun is one of those stars, orbiting at a distance of about 26,000 light-years from the core, completing one full circle only once every 225 million years. That means in the 4.5 billion years of the Sun's life so far, it has made just about 20 journeys around the galaxy. 20 circuits in all of history, each one taking so long that continents have shifted, mountains have risen and eroded, and species have come and gone, all while the solar system has inched forward on its silent path. The speed of this drift is astonishing, though it does not feel so from our vantage point on Earth. The Sun and its planets travel at an average of 514,000 miles per hour, fast enough to circle Earth in less than 3 minutes, and yet, because space is so vast, the motion feels imperceptible. We do not sense the Sun's orbit, just as we do not feel Earth racing around the Sun at 67,000 miles per hour. These motions are too steady, too smooth, too constant for our senses to detect. But if you could step outside of time, if you could see the galaxy as it turns across eons, you would watch the stars sweeping along their paths like sparks in a great cosmic current. The Sun drifts, Earth drifts, and we drift with it, passengers. On a voyage so immense it almost defies imagination, the galactic drift is not a solitary journey. We travel with neighbors, with other stars that share roughly the same orbit, forming loose groups known as stellar streams. These streams are like highways of light, families of stars moving together across the disk. Some of them are the remnants of long-ago galaxies, absorbed into the Milky Way, and now stretched into rivers of stars by its gravity. Others are simply clusters that drifted outward together after their birth. Our Sun belongs to what astronomers call the local standard of rest, a group of stars orbiting in roughly the same direction and speed, sharing the segment of the galactic spiral. We are not alone in our motion. We are part of a flow stream, a river of suns gliding silently around the core. As the Sun drifts, so too does Earth, carried along like a small vessel tethered to a larger ship. Every moment of your life has been spent moving through the galaxy at 500,000 miles per hour, though you have never felt the motion. When you look up at the stars at night, they seem fixed and steady, yet in truth, they are moving too, each one with its own orbit, each one shifting position over millennia. The constellations we know today will not last forever. Orion, with his belt of stars, will one day stretch apart, his familiar shape dissolving into something new. The Big Dipper will warp and bend, its handle curling differently, its bowl reshaped by the slow migration of its stars. Over thousands of generations, the sky itself changes, all because of the galactic drift, the slow ballet of stars orbiting their common center. The path we follow is not a simple circle. The Sun's orbit around the galaxy wobbles, rising and falling gently above and below the galactic plane, like a boat rocking on the waves of an invisible ocean. Every few dozen million years, the solar system drifts upward through the plane of the galaxy, then slowly sinks back down again, tracing a wave-like path as it circles the center. These oscillations carry us through regions of greater and lesser density, sometimes through areas rich with gas and stars, sometimes through quieter, emptier regions. In this way, the galactic drift shapes not only the path of our solar system, but also, in subtle ways, the history of Earth itself. Some scientists have wondered whether periodic changes in Earth's environment, even mass extinctions, might be connected to these oscillations, as the solar system passes through dense regions of the galaxy that disturb the comets in the outer reaches of our system. Whether or not this is true, the idea reminds us that our lives are connected to the rhythms of the galaxy, that even the slow drift of the Sun may ripple into the story of life on Earth. The stars around us, too, are companions on this long journey. Some are closer than others, like Proxima Centauri, just over 4 light-years away, faint and small, but tied to our neighborhood by gravity. Others pass near us over time, wandering stars that draw closer for a moment in galactic terms before moving on. Tens of thousands of years from now, Gliese 710, a star currently about 60 light-years away, will drift close enough to pass within a single light-year of the Sun, its gravity tugging at the outermost comets of our solar system. The galaxy is not a static background but a living environment, stars weaving past one another as they orbit the center, each with its own history, each with its own path, and all part of the same great drift. The drift is patient, and in its patience lies something deeply calming. For while our lives are marked by change, by beginnings and endings, the galactic drift moves at a scale beyond all urgency. It does not hurry, does not rush. It flows with the slow rhythm of billions of years. When civilizations rise and fall, when mountains form and crumble, when ice ages come and go, the Sun continues its orbit, its course unchanged. To think of this drift is to step outside the pace of human time and enter the quiet of cosmic time, where centuries are seconds, and millions of years are minutes, and the galaxy itself turns slowly like a vast clock. You, too, are part of this drift. Every breath you take, every heartbeat, every dream is carried forward on this journey in the Milky Way. Your life may be short compared to the length of a galactic orbit, but it is not separate from it. You are a passenger carried along with Earth, with the Sun, with the spiral of stars, moving endlessly through the dark. When you look up at the night sky, you are looking not just outward into space, but also forward along your path, seeing the stars that line the way of your orbit, the companions that will share in your journey for millions of years to come. And so the galactic drift continues, steady and silent, a voyage without beginning or end, carrying us all together through the spiral arms of the Milky Way, bound not by will, but by gravity, by the quiet force that ties stars to stars and galaxies to galaxies, weaving all of creation into one flowing motion across the endless dark, as we drift farther and farther in our thoughts, gliding with the Sun and its companions around the spiral arms. There comes a moment when the imagination reaches past what we know, into the vast expanse of what remains a mystery. The Milky Way is immense, and though astronomers have studied it with telescopes and satellites, much of it remains hidden from view, veiled by distance, dust, and sheer enormity. The unknown beyond is not just a region of space, but a reminder of the boundaries of human understanding, the places where our knowledge gives way to wonder. At the center of the galaxy lies a mystery so dense that not even light can escape it. Sagittarius A, the supermassive black hole at the heart of the Milky Way, holds the mass of more than 4 million suns within a space smaller than our solar system. We cannot see it directly, for its gravity swallows light itself, but we can see the stars that circle it at astonishing speeds, whipped around like sparks in a storm. Their orbits reveal its presence, a silent anchor holding the galaxy together. What lies inside that black hole, what truly happens at its core, remains one of the deepest mysteries of physics. Is it a singularity, a point of infinite density where space and time collapse, or is it something stranger, perhaps a doorway to regions of the universe we cannot yet imagine? The unknown beyond begins right there in the heart of our home galaxy, where gravity itself bends the fabric of reality. But the mysteries are not confined to the center. All across the spiral arms, there are stars surrounded by planets we have never seen. Thousands of exoplanets have been discovered orbiting distant stars, and yet this is only the beginning. Estimates suggest that in the Milky Way alone, there may be more planets than stars, hundreds of billions of worlds scattered across the galaxy. Some are gas giants larger than Jupiter, others are rocky like Earth, and still others circle so close to their stars that their surfaces must be oceans of molten rock. But beyond the known lies an even greater number of undiscovered planets, hidden in the darkness, each with its own landscape, its own skies, its own stories untold. How many of them might harbor life? How many oceans ripple under alien suns? How many forests? How many skies? How many unknown beings watch their own stars and wonder about the universe? The unknown beyond stretches out with each new discovery, for every answer only multiplies the questions. There are also the edges of the galaxy, regions where stars thin out into a sparse halo of ancient suns and globular clusters. These clusters are some of the oldest structures in the galaxy, tightly packed spheres of stars that formed more than 10 billion years ago. Their origins are not fully understood. Did they form with the Milky Way, or were they captured from smaller galaxies long ago? They drift like lanterns on the outer edge, faint and far away, but holding secrets of the galaxy's earliest days. Beyond them lies the true edge, a faint boundary where the pull of the Milky Way gives way to intergalactic space, where the next galaxies, the Andromeda Galaxy, the Triangulum Galaxy, the smaller dwarf companions, begin their dominion. What lies beyond that? The unknown expands outward without limit, each boundary revealing another horizon. Even within the space we call familiar, mysteries remain. Dark matter, an invisible substance that cannot be seen with any telescope, makes up most of the galaxy's mass. We know it must exist, because without it, the stars in the outer arms would not orbit fast enough to stay bound. And yet, we do not know what it is made of. It does not shine. It does not absorb light. It passes through ordinary matter as if it were nothing at all. And yet its presence shapes the galaxy, holds it together, determines its structure. Dark energy, even more mysterious, seems to push the universe apart, accelerating its expansion. Together, dark matter and dark energy make up 95% of the universe, leaving the stars, planets, and galaxies we see as only a small fraction of reality. To think of the unknown beyond is to think of this invisible framework, the hidden architecture of existence that we can sense but cannot yet define. Closer to home, the unknown extends into the unseen depths of our own solar system. Beyond Pluto, past the Kuiper Belt, lies the Oort cloud, a vast sphere of icy bodies that may stretch halfway to the nearest star. No probe has ever reached it. No telescope can see it clearly. It exists only in theory, inferred from the long period. Comets that sometimes fall inward toward the sun. The Oort cloud is part of our galactic neighborhood, yet it remains unvisited, a reservoir of frozen mysteries drifting on the edge of interstellar space. Perhaps within it lie clues to the birth of the solar system, pristine relics from 4.5 billion years ago, untouched since the beginning. Perhaps it stretches farther and wider than we imagine, blending into the interstellar medium, until it is impossible to say where one ends and the other begins. The unknown beyond does not begin only at the galaxy's edges, it begins right here, in the spaces we have not yet crossed. The unknown is not frightening when we place it in the quiet context of the stars. It is instead humbling, a reminder that the universe is deeper and richer than any single mind can hold. Every new discovery, whether of a black hole shadow, a distant planet, or a faint galaxy billions of light years away, reminds us that the unknown is not empty but full. It is not a void but a canvas, painted slowly with each new observation, each question asked, each dream pursued. The Milky Way alone holds more mysteries than we can count, and yet, it is only one galaxy among trillions. To drift through it, even in thought, is to brush against wonder, to feel the vastness of possibility. The unknown beyond stretches ahead of us, as it always has. Ancient stargazers looked upward and saw a mystery in the faint band of light that arched across the night. Naming it the Milky Way, imagining rivers of milk, pathways of souls, bridges between worlds. Today, with telescopes and equations, we can see farther and know more, but still, the essence is the same. The band of stars holds secrets we cannot yet reach, and perhaps never will. Yet it is in those secrets that the beauty lies, for the universe is not a puzzle to be solved once and for all, but a song, a flowing mystery, always inviting us deeper, always offering new verses to be discovered. The unknown beyond is the silence between the stars, the shadows that hide behind their light, the distances that stretch farther than thought can follow. It is the invitation written across the night sky, calling us to wonder, to dream, and to drift a little farther into the mysteries of the Milky Way. As the mind drifts through the galaxy, there comes a gentle point where the language of astronomy, blends with the rhythm of rest, where the stories of stars mirror the cycles of life, and the night sky itself becomes a companion to sleep. For stars too are not eternal. They are born, they shine, they transform, and eventually, they rest. The idea of stellar sleep is not a literal one, but when thought of in human terms, it feels deeply fitting, for the stars that sparkle above us follow arcs of existence that echo our own patterns of wakefulness and rest. To imagine the sleep of the stars is to imagine the galaxy in its most peaceful state, filled with glowing suns in every stage of their long, slow lives. A star begins not in brightness, but in silence, hidden within the cold depths of a molecular cloud. These clouds are vast, drifting seas of hydrogen gas and dust, scattered through the arms of the Milky Way. Within them, gravity gathers matter together, slowly, invisibly, pulling threads of gas into tighter and tighter knots. For millions of years, these knots contract until they grow hot enough to ignite nuclear fusion in their cores. It is then that a star awakens, shining with a new light, scattering the surrounding darkness. From the galaxy's perspective, stars are always being born, waking from their slumber within the nebulae and joining the endless spiral of suns. Once awake, a star can live for billions of years. Our sun, now about halfway through its life, has been shining steadily for 4.5 billion years and will shine for about the same amount of time still to come. It burns with quiet patience, fusing hydrogen into helium in its core, releasing light that travels across space to reach us, warming Earth and sustaining the life that depends on it. This steady radiance is the star's long day, its active season, the time when it shines at its brightest. From Earth, we see countless such stars scattered across the night, each in its own active phase, each living out its luminous story. But even stars cannot burn forever. Slowly, their fuel diminishes and their light begins to change. The path a star takes toward rest depends on its size. Smaller stars, the most common in the galaxy, live the longest, some for trillions of years. They shine so dimly that from Earth, most are invisible red dwarfs glowing faintly in the dark. These stars will outlive the Milky Way itself, burning quietly and steadily until they fade into black dwarfs, cold remnants that no longer shine. Though none yet exist, for the universe is not old enough for any to have reached that stage. The thought of them is like the thought of embers cooling in a fire that once roared with light. Larger stars, like our sun, end their lives more dramatically. When the hydrogen in their cores is exhausted, they swell into red giants, their outer layers expanding outward, glowing with a cooler, redder light. In this state, the star has entered its twilight, luminous but unstable, casting off its outer shells into space. These shells of gas form planetary nebulae, glowing clouds shaped into rings, spirals, or other delicate forms, illuminated by the hot core that remains at their center. Over tens of thousands of years, the nebula drifts away, leaving behind a white dwarf, a dense remnant no larger than Earth, still glowing with the last of its stored heat. White dwarfs are the resting places of stars like our sun, not truly dead, but no longer burning new fuel, cooling ever so slowly over billions of years. For the most massive stars, the sleep is less peaceful and far more violent. These giants live short, brilliant lives, sometimes only a few million years, before collapsing under their own weight. When they do, they explode as supernova, releasing more energy in a single moment than the sun will produce in its entire life. These explosions scatter heavy elements, carbon, oxygen, iron, and beyond into space, seeding the galaxy with the materials needed to form planets and life. What remains at the center can be a neutron star, a city-sized object so dense that a teaspoon of its matter would weigh billions of tons, or a black hole, a region of space where gravity is so strong that nothing can escape. These remnants are the final resting places of the largest stars, their strange, exotic forms marking the boundary between what we can understand and what remains beyond comprehension. Every star in the night sky, every point of light that twinkles above, is somewhere on this arc, somewhere between birth and rest. Some are young, just igniting for the first time. Others are middle-aged, steady, and patient. Some are nearing their twilight, swelling into giants, or casting off their shells. A few have already ended, their light traveling to us from a past where they no longer exist. To gaze at the stars is to gaze across time, to see not just light, but the history of stellar lives unfolding across the galaxy. The galaxy itself is filled with these reminders of stellar sleep. Planetary nebulae glowing softly, like lanterns, drifting in space. Supernova remnants expanding as colorful clouds, evidence of great endings. White dwarfs glowing faintly in quiet constellations. Neutron stars spinning beams of light like lighthouses. Black holes hidden in their silence, marking the places where stars have fallen inward into their final rest. Each of these is a kind of sleep, a transition into stillness after the long burning of stellar life. And yet, even in their rest, stars contribute to the cycle of renewal. The gas and dust released by dying stars becomes the material for new ones. Nebulae form from the ashes of the old, and within the new stars ignite, new systems form, new worlds emerge. In this way, the galaxy is always both resting and awakening, always in balance, with stars sleeping and stars being born. It is a rhythm not unlike our own, the alternation of waking and sleeping, of activity and rest, of one day flowing into the next. To think of the sleep of the stars is to think also of our own small place in this great rhythm. We rest under their light, warmed by the sun, calmed by the faint glow of distant stars. Our nights are marked by their presence, our days by the radiance of our own star. Just as the stars live and fade, so too do we find our cycles of rest, our pauses in the flow of time. To drift into sleep is to echo the galaxy itself, to become part of the rhythm that stars have followed for billions of years. As you imagine yourself drifting now, carried along by the sun's orbit, surrounded by the glow of countless stars, think of their quiet rest. Think of the red dwarfs that will one day fade, the giants that swell and cast off their layers, the white dwarfs cooling slowly into silence. Think of the supernova that scatter the building blocks of life, the neutron stars that spin, the black holes that wait in their gravity. Each of these is a chapter in the story of stellar sleep, a reminder that even the brightest flames eventually rest, and that this rest is not an ending but part of the cycle of renewal, part of the endless rhythm of the galaxy, part of the quiet beauty of drifting through the Milky Way. And so, as our quiet journey through the Milky Way draws to a close, we return to the place we began drifting, softly carried by the current of the galaxy. Together, we have floated past the glow of spiral arms, paused in the neighborhoods of stars, watched the slow orbit of the sun, and wondered at the mysteries hidden in the unknown beyond. We have listened to the rhythm of stellar lives, their awakenings, their brilliance, and their eventual rest. What lingers now is a sense of belonging, the knowledge that we are not separate from the stars, but part of their story. Every atom in your body was forged in the heart of some long ago sun, scattered across the galaxy in the ashes of a supernova, and drawn together here, on this small blue world, to breathe, to dream, and to wonder. You are stardust, carried forward on the same drift that moves the sun, part of the same cosmic cycle that guides the lives of stars. As you close your eyes, let yourself drift with that thought. The galaxy moves slowly, patiently, carrying you through the spiral arms, past clouds of gas and clusters of stars, around the hidden gravity of the center. There is no need to hurry. There is no need to hold on. Just as the stars find their rest, you too are free to surrender to rest, to let the quiet of the Milky Way surround you, to feel yourself floating gently into sleep beneath the endless night sky.